Hi everyone, it's Emmanuel Kadosh. I wanted to invite you all to subscribe to ILTV Plus, where you can find our daily news and updates about Israel. And not only that, but live feeds, entertainment, our kosher food show, and so much more. Needless to say, your subscription to ILTV Plus helps us grow and create more content while also supporting the state of Israel. Our app is available on all platforms and devices, so I'll see you guys there.
Hello and welcome to ILTV's Israel Daily. I'm Aaron Porras, and coming up in today's newscast, updated details surrounding the recent deaths of 2 Iranian scientists earlier this week. Meanwhile, the United Nations publishing its latest disproportionate diatribe against Israel, which is immediately condemned by the United States and some 20 other countries. And Jerusalem feverishly working to protect its citizens abroad. All Israeli visitors to Turkey urged to leave immediately amidst credible threats from Iran. Further evidence now coming out and giving sway to arguments that the 2 Iranian scientists recently killed in 2 separate incidents more than likely were assassinated. But this as Iran maintaining the pair died in unrelated car accidents. ILTV reporter Asaf Nissan with the update.
Contrary to Iranian state reports, the UK-based Iranian International News now claiming that Ali Khamenei and Muhammad Abdus, 2 Iranian scientists, were not at all what they seemed. The site alleging that both were developing weapons for Iran's proxy terror group in Lebanon, Hezbollah, and that both were likely assassinated, rather than dying in separate car accidents, as officially reported. Iran International, not specifying alternative causes of death, however. Now, as for proof, for one, both were members of the IRGC Aerospace Division, which orchestrated Iran's ballistic missile program and air defenses. Second, Iran's defense ministry saying the 2 were martyred, which is a designation not typically afforded unless the deceased were involved in important assignments. And lastly, the location of the deaths. Khamenei, whose military uniform shows him to be a 2nd lieutenant in the aerospace program, said to have died in the city of Khomeini, which is home to Iran's Arak heavy water reactor. And Abdus reported to have died, quote, on mission in Semnan, where satellites are launched from the Imam Khomeini spaceport.
Heading now to Geneva, a commission of inquiry at the UN Human Rights Council is releasing yet another report condemning Israel for, quote, seeking complete control over what it calls the occupied Palestinian territories, which includes East Jerusalem. The United States, 21 other countries, and at least half a dozen NGOs condemning the report and the HRC itself, however, for its persistent and disproportionate discrimination against Israel. Joining me to discuss is former Israeli ambassador to the United Nations and chair to the World Likud, Dani Danon. Ambassador, it's great to have you with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
All right, now, the United States and all these other states and organizations are condemning the report at the debate this week, and it seems indeed that only states like Syria, Iran, and their compatriots are backing it. What does that say, actually, about the state of the UN Human Rights Council as it now marks its 50th session?
I think we have to acknowledge that the Human Rights Council is still biased against Israel, and we should expect our allies and friends not to cooperate with this notorious organization. I think the US should decide whether they continue to fund this organization, whether they continue to participate in the game. You know, when I worked together with Ambassador Nikki Haley, I recommended that the US should pull out from the organization, and that was the decision they took. The new administration decided to come back, to become active, and I think they should reconsider their position.
All right, so Navi Pillay, who led the probe, was herself actively lobbying against Israel and accused Israel multiple times of being an apartheid state long before the report came out. How do you think she was cleared as impartial for this report?
Well, it's not the first time. You know, whenever the Human Rights Council has to deal with Israel, they choose, you know, from the beginning, the worst candidate for those positions. They choose those who have track record of bashing Israel, of blaming our soldiers in the IDF for committing atrocities.
To watch full episodes of ILTV's Israel Daily and tons of other content from Israel, visit our website at iltv.tv or download the ILTV Plus app.